Here's an intro to linear graphing. Plotting lines is pretty easy, but you've got to just follow some simple rules. The main thing is that if you remember, everything in linear graphing relates to the equation y equals mx plus c. So we know that m is the gradient, or how steep the line is, and the constant on the end over here, it also happens to be the y-intercept. Okay, so that's where it crosses the y-axis. Now over on our graph, I need to give it a scale. So we'll mark in positive 10, negative 10, negative 10. We make sure that it's got the x and y axes labelled, which it does. Now we're looking at our equation up here. Now, when I go to draw these, I always draw them by first having a look at the y-intercept, which is that little constant on the end there. It's -3. So we come down and put a mark in at -3. That's our first point. And then what we do is we have a look at the gradient of the line. And that gradient is a gradient of 2. We know that the gradient is the rise over the run. So if we just make that a fraction by putting it over 1, then we know that starting at a point that we know, so the point we've already marked, we count a rise, 1, 2, over a run of 1. We'll put a second mark in there, and we'll take a ruler, and we will, neatly as we can, draw in the line, remembering that it goes on forever. We might choose to label that line as well, if it's one that there's multiple lines on the same graph. All right, now the next part is, this one asks us to mark in 2 significant points. Now, one of those points is already there. Look at this, we've got the y-intercept, which is when x is 0, y is -3. And then we need another significant point. Now, the point that I'm going to choose, just for the point of this video, and so you know how to find it as well, is sometimes you'll be asked for the x-intercepts. Now, we kind of cheat when we go looking for the y-intercept by just picking on that little number that's by itself in the equation, the constant or the y-intercept value that's there. But really what we're doing here is when we take our equation, y equals 2x -3, and we're trying to find the y-intercept, what we're doing is we're making x 0, okay? Because if we keep x 0, then the line it can't stray left or right, it must cross the y-axis, okay? That's how we're finding that. So what if I make x 0, y will be 2 times nothing, because x is nothing, -3, and that's why y is -3. So we've got our first significant point, 0, -3. We probably wouldn't go to the trouble of doing that, but that's just an exercise to show you how you're finding the y-intercept. To find the x-intercept, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to take the same equation that we've already used, but this time we're going to make y equal nothing, and that will help us to find the x-intercept. And we do this just using the balance method, so we'll add 3 to both sides here. Now we'll divide by 2 both sides, and we'll find that x is 3 on 2, or 1.5. So that coordinate is when x is 3 on 2, y is 0, and that we might make our second significant point. We'll mark it in, and that question's been answered.